Hey guys, welcome to my review of My Dress Up Darling. As you can tell by the title today, I will be sharing my thoughts and love for season 1 of the show. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thanks a bunch! So, let's get started with this review. My Dress Up Darling was truly a delight, from the lovable characters to the wholesome fan service. Episode 1, we start off entering the world of Wakana Gojo, a boy with a passion for making Hina dolls, but sadly was too afraid to share his love for it. Until... I believe I can fly. Still wondering how she came in flying like that, but I digress. Enter best girl Marin Kitagawa. Yes, she's best girl. And here we have it, two characters from completely different worlds. We have Gojo, a loner, a bit awkward, and popular girl Marin. She's beautiful, outgoing, and also has a passion, cosplay. So Marin finds out Gojo's secret and asks him to help her make costumes because she's pretty bad at sewing, so you know, this is how they get together. And being real here, this episode was just perfect in my opinion. You see Marin begin to rise to best girl position just with her interactions with Gojo. She doesn't judge him and really helps Gojo come out of his shell. By the way, that is a major point in her character that I just adore. In fact, she basically fangirls when she heard about Gojo's passion. I already knew at that point that I was really going to love the show. It's actually crazy going back to Gojo from episode 1 after finishing episode 12. The character development just happened so naturally, and it made me tear up a bit just how much character progression Gojo had throughout the season. Marin and Gojo bring out the best in each other, and sometimes we end up in some very, very interesting scenarios. My Dress Up Darling got a lot of attention for the wholesome fan service. Now, I call it wholesome fan service because I believe the fan service in the show acts as kind of a point in helping the plot progress. You have fan service in some shows where it's there to make you happy, to make you pervy. I don't know, it's just there. But I feel like in My Dress Up Darling, it actually has an importance. It makes you kind of feel awkward for Gojo in some scenarios, or maybe you enjoyed. Who knows? I'm not judging you. But the fan service does leave a lot of debate about the show's popularity. But when you think about it, when you really sit there and watch all 12 episodes of My Dress Up Darling, while there are a lot of steamy moments, I would just describe it as sprinkles on the overall cake that is the show. Maybe extra sprinkles on the inside as well, but it's just there to enhance the experience, not override it. I mean, sure, there's an entire episode of Gojo measuring Marin's body, but that moment led us to a very interesting perspective in the show. Marin's feelings, Marin getting flustered, and you follow her questioning and realizing that she loves Gojo. To by the end of the season just makes her saying that she loves Gojo all the more satisfying, which I think is a nice little detail to add because I feel like the WUV feels like a more cutesy term for showing interest in someone, like a little crush, to actually saying you love someone, which does come off more serious and mature. The strong points in My Dress Up Darling really come from the emotional moments that I feel like a lot of people can relate to. The stress Gojo feels when making a costume for Marin due to a miscommunication, he ends up stressing himself out, and I could really relate to the feeling of being overwhelmed by a deadline, thinking everything was going wrong and the world was out to get you. In that moment, I felt the pain Gojo was feeling, and I could relate to it. And moments like that in shows are just something special. In the same episode, you have this moment where Marin realizes just how much stress Gojo was put under and sincerely apologizes to Gojo, which touched my heart because here we have a character that really values Gojo's kindness. She's amazing, he's amazing, they're all just amazing. I feel like you go through a roller coaster of emotions, and when Marin puts on her first costume, you just can't help but to be in complete awe. That was just such a feel-good moment, with many more to come. While My Dress Up Darling heavily focuses on Gojo and Marin, we also got to meet a few other characters that I feel like will have an importance to what is yet to come of the story. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail about these characters, I'm just going to briefly share my opinions about them. Enter Sejuna and her younger sister Shinju. Sejuna, or her cosplay name Juju, is another passionate cosplayer, and her interactions with Marin were really well done in the show. I won't go into much detail other than that, but I think their addition to the show was welcomed. This entire episode, we had Gojo help put together a cosplay for Shinju, which makes a huge reveal, actually shocking Marin and her sister. But it was such a feel-good moment because you see this girl that's always wanted to cosplay, but she didn't think she was good enough to do it, especially cosplaying a boy character. Overall, I just loved that moment. You can't help but to just smile, especially seeing how happy Shinju was. I really think their addition to the show is welcomed and could potentially add an interesting development in the plot, depending on if Sejuna actually is developing feelings for Gojo, because, I don't know, some of the moments just made me wonder. But until then, I stan Marin and Gojo all the way. Like, oh, this entire season was just cuteness after cuteness between these two characters. And yes, we get into a little bit of that wholesome fan service here and there, but I feel like this show's format, it just makes sense. And here we are, in the review. We've made it. Infamous episode 11. Here we go. The Love Hotel episode really goes from 0 to 100 in 20 minutes, and it takes you for a wild ride, let me just say. Just starting off the episode and then finding out that they're going to a love hotel, you just can't help but to think you are in for a crazy episode. But seriously, this episode was insane, and I'm not just talking about Gojo's domain expansion, okay?
領域展開
I can only imagine what is in store for them in the future. But overall, My Dress Up Darling was a treat. I would almost go so far to calling it a masterpiece. I was invested in each episode and the relationship between Marin and Gojo, which was executed so beautifully from episode 1 to 12, leaving room for obviously more development, but some of the smaller moments in this show I just can't help but to treasure. Like Gojo's grandfather waving goodbye to him in episode 12, knowing Gojo finally has a friend to hang out with and create memories with. I feel like that wave and that look on his grandfather's face almost depicted my expression as a viewer, being truly happy for Gojo's happiness. Marin and Gojo bring out the best in each other, and you just want it to work out for the both of them. This show, I will without a doubt rate it a solid 10 out of 10. The story, beautiful animation, lovable characters just create a perfect recipe for an extraordinary show. There is still so much I could say about my love for the show. If you are still debating about checking it out, I highly recommend it. This might just be your next favorite. Thanks a bunch for listening to my review of My Dress Up Darling. Please show your love and support by giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay fresh and bye!
またね。